We are live. So, this is something that Jodi and I are going to start doing here. And we are going to come in here and we're going to do a Facebook Live, and we're going to probably put these on YouTube. So if you want to follow us on YouTube, let's see if I can put you a link right here. If we go right here with the link, you will be able to get that link in Facebook. So if you have any questions, you can ask any question that you would like, and we will answer those questions for you.
Depending on what they are.
Yes. Some questions we might not, some questions we might. So we are going to talk about, we have one viewer right now already. That's probably you. If you have any questions, you can just turn the volume down so you can see how stuff we got. We got your sister on here, the whole 9 yards. And so we're going to try to do this about once a week. We might do it more. We don't know yet. And we're going to talk anything about homeschooling, kids, marriage, church, soccer. And these are some things that, are in our lives.
Marching band, pressure washing,
small business owners, stuff like that. So these are some questions that we're going to ask. So you can see I can put Julie's question, hello. We know it's you because it's the internet and it tells us it's you. So it's pretty crazy how that works.
See, my husband is a YouTube star, for those of you who don't know. So he has all this fancy equipment to do this stuff. This is a little new for me. I usually use my phone and go like this.
So tonight we are going to start out with just telling our story, kind of how we met, what we, our kids, what we do. It takes 10 minutes and we're done in 10 minutes. That's what we're going to do. If it's an hour, we don't have no kids tonight. So kids are at Grandma and Grandpa's house, so that means we're going to do this. Now, we're going to try to do this in the weeks coming with kids, so we'll probably have little ones running in here going, Mom, I need this.
Never.
Mom, I need that. Usually because it's the little one that is doing it and not so much the big one. So, with that being said, this is how we met. Long time ago. We met.
We were both losers.
I was a really big loser. I was just getting out of a divorce, and I was desperate, and I went online, and I just started pushing buttons to see if somebody would actually reply back.
And I was dumb enough to do it.
And she replied back, and that was a great thing, because now, 15 years later, we are very, very happily married, 2 kids, everything. Or at least I think we're happily married. It seems that way. So
pretty well.
We don't argue too much.
No.
But, so that is... Desperation sometimes does take over. So
I keep moving.
That is some things that is what happened. So, but that is how we did meet. We did meet online through Match.com. It was Easter when I pushed all the buttons
Easter
to see
Sunday that night.
who would do it, and we started dating that couple weeks after that.
Actually, 06?
06 is
2006.
when we started. We met. So we talked online on the Sunday and Wednesday. I made a date for Friday. And I might have did something on Wednesday just to make sure I want to go on the date on Friday. Sometimes.
He called me Wednesday afternoon at work, and he said, do you want to go for a walk at the park? I thought that was so sweet. And I did. And I talked to my girlfriends at work about what I should wear, and all that stuff.
The coyotes.
And the coyotes are howling, sorry. And then, so we went for a walk, and he later admitted to me that he did that to see if I was worth paying for the Friday night date.
Which it worked
Which
out
apparently I was, because he still took me out on Friday night. But, or maybe that's a dating tip for all you guys out there. Ask her to go for a walk and see if you like her before you dish out some money. Whatever. It worked out.
We closed out Skyline that Wednesday night, and it was love from there on after, right?
Pretty much.
So that is how we met. We met and we dated for a little over a year. I did this big romantic proposal for her. I mean, I think it was at the end of
He
the
proposed on accident while we were in line at UDF. Because I didn't realize it was an accident, so I accepted, and then he was stuck.
But
congratulations.
13 years, or what is it? 15 years later?
14 years later.
14 years later, we're still here with 2 little monkskins, and we're happily married still.
Yes.
So, yes, Jodi, her Julie, which
sister.
is her sister, that is when I met their family. And
in May. So we'd been together about a month.
And I did give her a lot of crap from the beginning, because why not when you're going to be late for church? And so, that is what I just do sometimes. But that's what makes it fun and exciting. So we got married in October of 2007 on the 20th.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I still remember that. That's a good thing.
It was a really cool wedding.
It was a really cool wedding.
I know that's just our opinion, but
it was unique. It wasn't at some big old church or nothing like that.
I did want a church wedding, though. I still resent you a little bit for that.
Yeah, well, you get over it. So
I'm still here, though, so whatever.
We got married on a boat, on Boone County Water Rescue Boat, because that is where I've been a volunteer there for a long time now. 17 years or 15 years. 16 years. So that is how we got married. We went on a pretty cool honeymoon. We went to Jamaica. We got to go scuba diving. Jodi got to go scuba diving in the ocean. We didn't get to see crap hardly, except what was in cages. So
Jamaica is way overfished. It's really sad.
Yeah, there's not much fish in there, as in what's getting fished. It all gets fished out and ate, and there's nothing left. So we went diving. We had a great time there, and then we came home, and we got pregnant. She got pregnant, because if I got pregnant, that would be better news.
Well, you were involved.
So she got pregnant, and we had Miss Jenna. What?
A year later.
Right at a year later.
11 and a half months.
Yep. So she was born on October 7th, 2008. So there comes our big scary cat just blocking our light over here.
Our lighting changes. It's because my blind cat keeps walking in front of it. Sorry.
So we got 13 people listening to us. So
that's crazy.
So, and if you all have any questions, go ahead and feel free to
we will answer just about anything.
Put them up on there, and then we will answer them once we kind of get done here. Unless they're relevant to the story, we will answer that question there.
Yep.
So at the time, I was a volunteer firefighter right before when we first met.
Yeah.
So for me to go full time, I actually went full time to become a full-time firefighter in January of 2007, and I have been there ever since. So Jodi was working at Toyota at the time.
Yep, I worked for those of you who are local, you remember when the Toyota North American headquarters were in Erlanger? You could see it from the highway. So I worked there for 10 years, from 2004 to 14.
So she worked there for a long time. So I'm going to just go back a little bit, just so that way everybody kind of knows of. I was actually homeschooled from 2nd grade all the way up through high school. And then I actually got a full scholarship to Northwestern University, which is a technical school up in Lima, Ohio. So I went to school there for a year and a half and got a 3-year degree. I doubled up on classes. And so that is kind of how I grew up.
Yep.
I grew up in Northern Kentucky. I grew up kind of close to all my family. And then Jodi, on the other hand.
I grew up in Ohio, in Batavia, outside of Batavia in Claremont County. I was public schooled, kindergarten through university. Had a great public school experience. I absolutely loved my time in school. Went to Claremont Northeastern, K through 12. Then went on to the University of Cincinnati. Spent 5 years there. Got a degree in history. And my parents actually retired from the public school system. So very heavily invested in the public school system and happy with it. Great experience. Very, very pleased with it. And personally had always planned to public school my children, because I think I know where he's going next.
Well, I'm just putting the story in place here, so that way everybody can kind of know the story, being that this will probably be one of our main stories on our YouTube channel. So we're both working. I started the full-time job at the firehouse right before we got married. When we got married, I actually got married in my fire uniform. So that was kind of unique with on a rescue boat. So we got married, went to Jamaica, and then we got pregnant, had kids, and our life for those first 4 or 5 years was like something big happened every year. Something huge would happen.
We got married. We had a kid. We moved.
We sold a house. We bought a house.
Started a business. And each year was something like that. Big change every year.
So, and Jodi over here, she absolutely loves change. Not at all. So with that being said, so there was lot of big things going on and that kind of stuff. So it was exciting for those first 5 to 7 years.
I want
to
stop and say something, because we kind of skipped
over
this.
Make sure you talk to the mic.
I've never had a microphone before. So I just want to stop because we're talking about our early years and after Jenna was born. So I've been pretty public about this, but it was many, many moons ago. So a lot of you don't know it. After Jenna was born, I had a pretty severe bout of postpartum depression that lasted for several years. So I don't know. I just feel like that's an important part of our story. And so if anybody ever, I always want to put out there, if anybody ever has questions, feels like they might be struggling with it, needs support, needs resources, anything, I am always available to talk to about that anytime. That's so important to get support if you're going through anything like that. So, and I feel like it was a big part of our story there for a couple years.
And with that being said, we may do a whole video,
do a whole thing about
about that. That way, if somebody is looking at that, needing help, needing, just encouragement, needing, you went to counseling, you did a lot of things to help overcome that, and I think, and did it mess with our marriage a little bit?
Yep.
Absolutely did. But with that being said,
we made it.
We made it, and we're more in love than we have ever been more in love with.
That's true.
100%.
You're still pretty cute.
I wouldn't even go there, but I'm fat and cute, but that's all right. So.
Same.
But it is what it is, and we love each other, and it is something that we definitely would, it is something that is part of our lives, and that is what, it actually helped us grow closer to in those years after we had Jenna, so that, when we had our next kid, we had some miscarriages along the way, and that didn't help her postpartum, or, that didn't help her mental side of things, and so those things all have happened to us. And she not only had one miscarriage, but a couple of miscarriages. So those are some things that, this is why we're going to kind of do this channel. We're going to talk about those things. We're not an expert at anything other than life. We are an expert in life. We have been in life
for a while.
We're doing it. I don't make 6 figures in my business, but we have a lot of stuff paid off. Only thing we owe on is our house, which is very little, and a car that we're trying to get paid off this year so we can be debt free. And we go on vacations all the time. We just got back from Disney from a week of Disney. And that is some things that we have done, and we will share how we've kind of been able to get debt free and to do it. Because when we was in those early years, in those times when she was going through the postpartum and all that kind of stuff,
there's a cat.
There's going to be a tail come through. That's Jenna's cat right there.
We have a lot of animals at our house.
Yeah, we haven't even got to that section.
No.
But with that, that is some things that, we want to talk about, of how we did the things we do, and how, what we do, and what we, and just share that. And so that way, if there is a person struggling in any of these situations of, let us know. We'll pray for you. We believe in Jesus. We are church going people. Are we going to talk a lot about that? We might not. Who knows? We're just kind of going.
The truth is, we really didn't plan this out very much. We were driving around tonight with no kids, and we said, "Hey, we should go live and talk about stuff."
And so
we did.
And we kind of talked about it while I'm on our trip back from.
Lisa wants to see the goats.
Oh, you want to see the goats, Lisa?
We'll have to go live during the day one time.
Yeah, so you can see the goats.
Unless they get in the house again.
On the stove. So Jodi loves that because I haven't gotten a barn out there.
But my barn's coming in 2 weeks.
It's coming in 2 weeks. And it's going to be paid for. So
yeah.
We're not going in debt for it, and it's going to be paid for. So these are some things that we're going to talk about on this channel of just what we do, how we've done it.
Where we failed and
where we failed. There's
well.
been many things that failed. I've failed at many things. Jodi's failed, But you know what? We've learned. We come closer. We love each other better. And it's like Jodi is absolutely my best friend at the end of the day. So, these are some things that we are going to talk about on these lives. And if you have questions, you can definitely ask questions. Again, if you want to go to the YouTube channel, you can go to the YouTube channel right here. We don't have 100 subscribers yet, so we need 100 subscribers before we can even name the channel. So if you go to that channel, I believe it should be coming up here shortly. It has some of our videos of our daughters and that. So now, once from there, we had a second kid.
Yeah, we did.
That kid is crazy.
In all the best ways.
She is in all the best ways. And she reminds me of my middle brother. She has big, humongous feelings. And it don't matter if it's a good feeling or a bad feeling.
And that took us a long time to figure out.
Yeah.
Because, she's young and she can't talk, right, when they're babies. So, I just thought this child was insane. I don't know. I was at my wit's end because she would throw tantrums, bite, hit, scream, fit, but then 30 seconds later be on my neck loving on me.
And have the meanest, I love you, Mommy.
She screams, I love you at me. That's great. Yes, crazy Bill. It's crazy Jill.
Crazy Jill, Bill.
We mean that well. It's
right.
Just her feelings are big, and we finally figured out she just feels everything magnified. So if she's happy, she is the happiest kid. She is the most loving. She feels love, big love. But she also feels big anger and big sadness. So every feeling she has is just magnified. So we've kind of been on this journey of learning how to parent her well through that. And I am not going to say that we've been 100% successful on that yet. But Jodi, it's not like me because she's not like me, and I have to learn how to parent.
She's not like Mommy, but she loves Mommy. Daddy can't do nothing with her. She does not want nothing. Now, Jenna, my oldest daughter, she's all about Daddy girl and a little bit about Mommy, but mostly Daddy. Move, Cat, you're messing with our light. With Jill, she's all about, if it's between Daddy or Mommy, it's Mommy 100%. If it's with Jenna, between me and Mommy, only if she's sick, it'll be Mommy.
Mm-hmm. That's it. When she was younger, that's how we knew she was getting sick. If all of a sudden she wanted me, it was like, oh no, she's going to be sick. Otherwise, she wanted Daddy.
And so that has been something that I've had to work on with Jill on the side of that cat's probably going to climb up you. That's the thing that on Jill is I've had to work with. I just had to realize that she's just a mama's girl, and those are things that that I got to deal with. Now, with that being said, also. We do Mommy Jenna Day, mm-hmm. Mommy Jill Day, Daddy Jenna Day, Daddy Jill Day. And this is something that if you have kids is very important.
Highly recommended.
This is something that if you don't do it, you are missing out a lot. Go on a date with your kids or go, when we do a thing, it's all day. I'll take Jenna. Jenna likes to there for a while, wanted to always go to the rock climbing.
We only have 2 kids, so we can do that. If you had, I have friends that have multitudes more children than we do, have been blessed with those children. So if you need to split it up, half day here, half day there, or even it's just a couple hours, just getting that one-on-one time together.
Right. Just getting that time with your kid, getting that time to know your kids, getting that time with Daddy, getting that time with Mommy, and you don't have that, that other thing going around there.
And she may be, Jill may be mama's girl and mommy all the time, but she wants her daddy Jillian days, and she looks so forward to those days. When's my next daddy Jillian day? And they both look really forward to their days, their one-on-one with us, because even with only 2 kids, they don't get a lot of one-on-one time with us. So to get that attention is a big deal to them, and it's important for all of us.
So that is some things that with, I would, and when you do it, put it in the schedule, because with me,
I put it in the calendar.
This is something that is hard for me because I can find 100 things to do besides go there and do that. And it's not good. It is a good time, so what we've learned to do is I put it in my schedule, and when the day comes up, guess what? That's a Daddy Jenna day. And so, that time management stuff of when it happens, you got to make it happen.
You have to make it a priority.
Exactly.
Just like everything else.
And, and even with what I learned, even with older folks, of my father passed, 10 years ago now? 8 years ago?
8 years ago.
8 years ago. He passed away 8 years ago. And there was a guy, an older gentleman that I worked with, Bob Offit. He works at the firehouse, and he used to tell me all the time, Jason, anytime you can go have time with your mom, dad, older people like that, go do it and cherish it. You will never forget it. And I even tell, Jodi will go to her mom and dad's, and I want her to go up there and to see her family and that. The last 2 years of my dad, I would call him up and say, I was driving a van around and I would do work at different firehouses, and I'd call him up, and as long as he wasn't doing nothing, he would ride around with me. And that time, even as an adult with me, doing it with my dad, I see how important it is to do it with your kids. And you need to do it with your kids whether times are hard or times are great. Always have that time with your kids. And that's something that you will cherish the rest of your life, and remember that. I still remember those times that I went with my dad, or dad went with me and I took him, in those times that I was able to talk to him and all that kind of thing. So with that, so them are some things you want to do with your kids. I would suggest that you have to spend that time with your kids, and to make sure that you're spending that time with your kids. Now, on to the next thing is we have a whole herd of animals. We are a small farm. We just don't get the farm tax on it, but we are a small farm. And it's a lot to do with that person right there.
You had dogs when we met.
I did have dogs when we met. So, how many cats we got?
3.
And whose are they?
3. So Tucker is mine, and I've had him longer than I have had him.
But that's about to come to an end.
So he is 14 years old, and if you are on my personal Facebook, you saw that he recently has gone blind. So I have a blind 14-year-old cat. But he gets along pretty well. He's figured out, it was a rough few days, maybe a week or so at first, but he's found his way around the house. He gets around pretty well.
Bumping into everything.
He occasionally runs into things. It's kind of sad. But it is pretty well. And then we have Molly, who is 8 years old. This is an interesting story, actually. We were out on the back of our property. We have 5 acres. And our old dog, Buddy.
There's the camera.
Oh, sorry. I told you I'm not used to all this fancy camera equipment. Technology. Sorry. So anyway, our old dog, Buddy, led me to her. And there was this teeny tiny little, probably 6-week-old kitten hiding in the underbrush. It was a rainy, cold, nasty day. And me, being the bleeding heart that I am, crawled through the thorns and the weeds and sat in the mud and got bit by mosquitoes until this little kitten trusted me enough that I could grab it. And then she proceeded to claw the crap out of my arms. But I got her inside because it's a tiny little feral kitten. And we put her in the laundry room because we didn't know where to put her. Jenna was, what would that make Jenna? 3 or 4 years old? She was young. So we put a sign like, don't go in there, because this cat was, even though she was little, was wild. And long story short, we eventually rehabilitated her, tried to give her away. Because we didn't want another cat. We had multiple cats before. Tucker doesn't take to other cats nicely. Didn't want another cat. Nobody wanted this cat. kitten, free kitten. And then one day Jenna goes, we're not getting rid of her, are we? And so we named her Molly.
So Jenna would read this cat. You couldn't pet.
You couldn't pet her. You couldn't touch her or anything. She was
for like 2 months. She was in there.
Yeah, it was like 2 or 3 months. It was a long time.
And so finally, Mama went in there, and Jenna went in there and would start reading to the cat and all this stuff.
I think that helped, and it helped Jenna. Got to practice her reading, and I think it got her used to people being around. I keep looking at him. I'm sorry. I'm not used to all this camera equipment. I'm sorry.
So
get off my lawn.
So that is how.
That's Molly.
Molly. Whoops, sorry. I just kicked her cat talking about that. So that's Molly. So then we're the 3 cats we have.
He's blind. You have to leave him alone.
Then we have 3 dogs.
Speaking of, you didn't tell him about Oreo.
Oh yeah. Then we have this crazy cat.
This is my Tucker.
Yeah, that's Tucker, the orange, and then the black cat and white cat I had is Oreo.
That's Jenna's,
and he is a crazy cat. He is one of the cats that you would make.
You could make memes about him.
He's stupid. He's crazy. He eats cardboard.
He doesn't eat it. He chews it off and spits it out.
He is the funniest cat that I've ever seen, probably. He is one cat that is just funny and crazy. So that's the cat. That's the cats. So what about the dogs? Who's the dogs?
3 dogs. So we have Chief is our old dog now.
Right.
He is 9. He's a Plot Hound mix. We got him from the ARF Rescue, the Animal Rescue Fund in Amelia, pretty much because the Boone County Animal Shelter was closed. So we drove to Ohio and got a dog.
You just keep talking about the dog.
Okay, so that's Chief, and he is good, except for we got him to be kind of a guardian dog, and they told us he was a shepherd at the rescue. I don't think there's any shepherd in him at all. He is 100% hunting dog, and he's scared of everything. So that worked out great. But he's a really good dog. As a pet, he's probably the best one that we have. And then Ashes we got about a year later. She is an Anatolian Shepherd Great Pyrenees mix. She's the big white dog you see. And we got her. I miss you too, Jill. Sorry. And we got her to be a guardian dog. We got her from a poultry farm up in Ohio. And we got all 3 of our dogs in Ohio. Mm-hmm. Never realized that. So we got her up there, and she's really good. She's 7 now. So funny story about her. We got her, and then really quickly found out that I was pregnant with Jill. Probably would not have gotten a puppy that needed housebreaking if I knew I was going to be pregnant.
And it was right before wintertime.
And I sprained my ankle. It was super fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she's a really good dog. She's really sweet. She's huge. She's 140 pounds. Good protector. Unfortunately, she does have premature arthritis in 3 legs. So she limps pretty badly, and we're going to probably have to retire her soon. Which is why we have Tank, who is our puppy. He is not quite 6 months old yet, 5 months old. Mm-hmm. We got him right before Thanksgiving. He's another Anatolian Great Pyrenees mix from a farm in Ohio, different farm. And he is huge. He's 5 months old, and he's almost as big as Ashes. If you remember, I just told you she's 140 pounds. So he's a big dog. He's the farmer we got him from estimates he'll be around 200 pounds full grown, and he's already shown really good protective instincts with the goats. And
the reason why we got her is because this one here is scared to death.
I have anxiety
of the coyotes that we have all over the back house.
Well,
which they are right down over the back of the hill.
So there's a little bit of a story. So we had decided, even me, that we weren't going to do big dogs anymore. We were done with the big dogs. I love big dogs. They're great, but they are harder, especially when they get older. I mean, physically, like Ashes can't get in the car without help right now, and she's 140 pounds. I can't do that. So we were done with big dogs. Well, then we went and got goats, which may or may not have been my doing. So we got goats. So no big deal. We got Ashes and we got Chief, right? Well, then the coyotes. We always have coyotes around here a couple times a year. This year was the worst they've ever been. We heard them every night from August probably through December. And that combined with Ashley's arthritis, I was like, we got to get another dog, protect those goats. They were bad. We've seen them in front of the front yard. We hear them all the time, really close.
They'll make your hair on the back of your neck stand up. They're that close of
They're that close. And we heard them regularly enough that I actually can tell you just from sound where their den is, what their hunting pattern is, what times they go out at night, what time they come back in the morning. And so I felt that we needed another protector for the goats. So welcome, Tank. So they are outdoor dogs because they are working dogs. We do consider them working dogs. They are all housebroken. They can come inside. They're fine inside, but they are outdoor working dogs.
Yep. So them are our dogs. We got 2 goats. Pygmy goats.
Kind of.
Yeah, one's not really a pygmy goat. It's more of a, I don't know what you call it. Angora, so it's got all this hair.
It's just mixed.
But they're kind of funny. They both have their personality. The female goat is kind of shy, and the male goat, he's all about,
It's very aggressive.
Very aggressive.
He's kind of a jerk. He'll take out your knee.
We call him Butthead because he loves to play, and he plays with his head. You know, he is a goat and he plays with his head, so it's not the best thing to play with sometimes with a goat. You know, he'll come up on his hind legs and be like, "Bam!" and you're like, ugh. And so I grab him by his horns and put him down on his head. So he is a funny goat. He goes nuts in the morning trying to get him a little something in the mornings, and he wakes everybody up in the whole house. So
speaking of, I think she might be pregnant.
So we might be having little ones. So
if anybody needs a goat,
let us know. We might be able to hook you up with a goat. So them are our goats. Those are our kids. We do homeschool our kids. We decided to homeschool. Jenna went to kindergarten at Toyota's, at the daycare she was at in Toyota.
They had a preschool. It was through the Children's Inc. program, which if you're in Northern Kentucky, they run a lot of the preschools and after school, before school programs. They were fantastic. I loved them. I was so scared when we sent her, and it ended up being such a great thing for her and for our family. She went there from age 2 through kindergarten. They actually offered a kindergarten program. So that's where she went through kindergarten, and I was working at Toyota.
And so we went there.
Yeah.
Then we tried to get her into public school.
So we're going to tell the whole story?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. So we went, being the planner that I am, before we started her in kindergarten, because we started her early, by like 6 days. We're not talking like years ahead of schedule. Her teachers, her preschool director, our pediatrician, us, we all agreed that she was ready to start kindergarten. But before we did that, I called the local school and said, is this going to be an issue? Because like I said before in the video, I had a great public school experience. Always plan on public schooling my kids. And they said, oh, as long as it's an accredited school, she'll roll right into first grade. No big deal. Well, so I guess it would be a few months before you would register. I contacted them again and said, okay, looking at public school. And they absolutely refused. And they were going to force her to repeat kindergarten. And I was like, but she's doing really well. Her teachers say she's doing really well. Her teachers and the director at the time offered to write us letters. Her pediatrician was on board with her moving on to first grade. And the local school absolutely refused to let her move on, strictly because of her birth date, because her birth date was 6 days too early. 6 days.
But she was reading at what age?
She was reading at like a second grade level. She was like doing very well academically, socially. Like everybody who actually knew the child agreed that she was ready to move on. I offered to the school to bring her in for an interview, to have her tested. I offered to pay for third-party testing, and they refused everything. They insisted that because of her birth date, she would be forced to repeat kindergarten. We fought back and forth with them. I took it to every member of the school board. Emails, the superintendent, like I was like not going to let this go because I wanted my kids to go to public school. I had a great experience. And after 4 months, I kind of had this moment where I was like, if this is so hard, to me, what should be a really easy question, this child has completed, or it was towards the end of the school year. So she's about to complete a grade level at an accredited school in the same state, and they're forcing her to repeat based on her age, and they're fighting with me this hard over what to me should be a really simple question. I thought, I don't think I want my kid in that environment where they're going to expect everybody to live in this little box of normal. And if you're outside of that box at all, they just can't accept that. And so we looked at a couple private schools. We went and toured and interviewed in that. And But so I'm pregnant at this time. So Jenna's getting ready to finish kindergarten. I am very hugely pregnant with Jillian. And my job at Toyota made the announcement that they were going to be closing the location in Erlanger. And my job in particular was going to go to Ann Arbor, Michigan area. And so that was 2 weeks before we had Jill. We found that out. So while I was on maternity leave, and at the same time, our pressure washing business was starting to take off. So while I was on maternity leave, we made a very difficult decision to take the leap, and I was going to stay home, and I would homeschool Jenna, and that's answered that question, and stay home with Jillian, which answered we had a lot of daycare questions going into what we were going to do. And
daycare's high. I understand people got to do daycare, but daycare is high dollar.
I feel for you. I was blessed. My employer subsidized it when Jenna was little. But even like for after school care, I was looking for Jenna after school care while Jill was in the full time. It was her after school care for Jenna was the same as we paid for subsidized care for infant care for Jill. And it was going to be almost my entire paycheck. It's crazy. So anyway, so that's how we kind of, and looking back on it, I remember we said like, we could kind of see these like flashing neon signs that God was pointing us to that direction. It's just sometimes it's hard to see it in the thick of it. But we took the leap and it's worked out pretty well.
We thought we was going to have to do a whole bunch of cutbacks and, not spend as much money here and there. But at the end of it, it all worked out. We didn't have to cut as much as we thought we was going to have to. We didn't have to go to ramen noodles. We thought we might have to go to ramen noodles a few times, but we was able to not to go to ramen noodles. We're not a big ramen noodle fan, so.
Not even when I was in college. I don't even know how he does that. He's a genius. My face is so red.
I know. I don't know why I've seen it.
My face is like so red.
Are you just that nervous of being on here, honey?
I guess I am.
So with that, we
need a dermatologist.
We went. And we homeschool our kids.
We've been on a long time.
I know we have. We've had a lot of people on here, too. There was actually people watching us. Can you believe that?
No, not really.
So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Make sure you like the Geiman family page. This is where we will be coming on and doing some more lives. And like I said, if you got any questions, let us know. Post them or... answer any
almost
questions.
Anything.
I wonder if anybody.
I'm a little scared of my friends and what they might ask.
Might be
so I'm not going to say everything
on there. So some of our hobbies. One of my hobbies is I do water rescue. It's a volunteer thing. It's kind of I get to go out on the river about once or twice a month, and that's something that I love to do. Is go out on the water, help people. Do that. What's some of your hobbies? The animals.
I like to pee alone.
Pee alone with no kids.
I don't get to do it very often.
With no kids.
Still.
With that, those are some of the hobbies that we like to do, especially in the summertime. Is when we go out on date nights, usually it's like, what are we going to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. We'll drive.
That's our hobby. Drive around and say, I don't know.
And we'll drive around. We drive around the countryside. We
do like to drive around.
We do like to drive around. We'll go see things. Just driving. We're not really going anywhere. We're just.
I'm a cheap date. That's why he married me.
I kind of go down. I know back roads, and we'll just go driving, and that's a fun thing that we do. We get a lot of talking. She gets a lot of talking.
Let's tell the funny story.
Which one?
Brian Dorn.
Oh, yeah.
So one time, I can tell it now. I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah. So at one point in time, my old boss from Toyota, one of my old bosses, don't want to give away too much there, and I had several. So anyway, messaged me that he might have an opening in Michigan, and we actually seriously considered whether or not it would take it. It ended up that job didn't transpire, but in that time when we weren't sure what was going on, we were praying about it. And we were just asking God what we could do. We had something happen that I thought for sure was a sign that we were supposed to go to Michigan.
Big sign.
Big sign. Because, what are the chances? So we're driving around on one of our date nights. Ended up with no kids.
Right.
And we're driving around. And I don't know what part of town that's in. It's the middle of nowhere, Kentucky.
We're on the other side of Rabbit Hash, Kentucky.
Other side of Rabbit Hash, Kentucky. And there's this little hole-in-the-wall, mom and pop place.
It's called Whether or Not.
Whether or Not. So locals might know that. And so we stopped because I don't know if one of us had to pee or both of us had to pee.
No, I think I just went down there to drink
music.
They have bands on the weekend.
We went there. I don't even remember why we went there.
Yeah.
He walks into the bathroom And it's a one-person bathroom. It's not like a multiple one. The previous person had forgotten to lock the door. So he walked in on one of my old general managers peeing. Like, walked in on this. Now, you keep in mind, this guy doesn't live in Kentucky anymore. He lives in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And he just happened to be in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky, on this random weekend, the same weekend that we're driving around, and Jason happens to walk into him in the bathroom. So we talked to him for a few minutes, and I honestly thought, if that's not a sign, I don't know what it is. I mean, what are the chances of running into him like that? But obviously it wasn't. We misread that sign because the job didn't pan out. But that's
again,
okay.
We do believe in Jesus. We
do.
believe in signs, and we've had some signs of, things that have happened, and it's been for the better,
Mm-hmm.
When she
Usually we don't catch them until afterwards.
When she was getting right before she quit her job or quit Toyota, there was a lot of stuff going on, a lot of pain, a lot of struggle, a lot of she was getting wrote up for no reasons, all this kind of stuff. And so I'm going to be real, and that is why we're here.
I don't like talking about this.
So, them are some things reason why we didn't know they were signs. We didn't know that they were going to move to up there. We didn't know none of that stuff. But it was signs that was like, hey, it's time for you to go bye-bye.
So we'll say one that was really big is I was blocked from moving. So a lot of people even at Toyota don't know this, but I was actually, another division tried to poach me. And steal me from my division, and my management blocked that choice. Like, I was not able to move. Had that happened, I would probably still be there because that job went to Georgetown, Kentucky.
Right. So that didn't happen.
That didn't happen. If that had happened, I would have never stayed home. I would never homeschooled our children, and would have never gone down that road. So, and at the end, that ended up being a blessing. But at the time, obviously, I was not very happy about that. It was kind of a difficult situation. My last year there was full of a lot of different stressors, and that was part of it. But in the end, I think that was good.
All worked out for the best. So now we homeschool our kids. We've done everything from on the homeschool side. We've done all one curriculum. We split it up. We've done, this year we're doing 2 co-ops. Next year we're probably not going to do any. We're only going to do a back. We're just all over the board. And that I don't
necessarily recommend that, but it is.
But it's what's best for our kids at the end of the day.
It's kind of one of the nice things about homeschooling is that if you realize that one teaching method maybe isn't working the best for your child, you can switch it up at any time, mid-year, end of the year, whatever. So, reflecting, I feel like I may have done that a little too much, that maybe Jenna hasn't had some consistency, so I'm looking to change that. One thing I really like to do is to participate in a co-op or community group. Realize about 4 months in that it really maybe is not the best thing for my family. Finish up that year because we finish up the commitment, and then not do it, and then a year later go, man, we should totally join a group. And I've repeated that cycle. So this year we're doing 2 co-ops all day Monday. We go like 8 hours on Monday, I think, and 5 hours on Tuesdays. And they're both great. They're both amazing co-ops, and we love them both for certain reasons, but that is not working for me and the girls. And I don't 100% know what we're going to do about that next fall, but we will not be doing 2 full-day co-ops.
So
that I know.
So we will talk about individual subjects when we come back on here. This one here
do
for
some
tonight.
Curriculum reviews and stuff.
Yep, we'll do anything, And so
we'll do anything.
And so this was just one that we were just starting it out. We wanted to try it out. We're going to post it on. We are going to try to grow our YouTube channel so that way stuff can be found in like a day or two when this one will be gone. So we will probably post this one as one of our main videos. But this is some things that we are going to do.
You want us to talk about anything?
Anything you want us to talk about?
It can be serious. It can be stupid.
That we have done. Like I said,
it doesn't have to be stuff we've done.
We love going to church. We love going to that is something that we love to do. We've made that a priority. Obviously, we made God a priority. God is number 1, and then family is number 2, and then church. Me and my wife, me and Jodi is number 2, and then our kids, and then church,
and then
going family and church, and
yeah.
all that is kind of there. So we'll talk about different things of this. We may actually might even do a podcast of it. So if you want to listen to it on to the radio, and if you would like that, let us know. Put a comment in. We don't know what we're going to do. We don't know what God's plan is for us. We're just going off of what we decided to do here, and to be positive and be an encouragement, and just to try to help you grow yourself better, or maybe you're struggling with something.
Or just to know that you're not alone. I think sometimes that's so important, to know that somebody else has struggled with the same things, and that.
And Jodi's been through a lot. We've been through a lot of surgeries. We've been, we've got a lot of stuff that we've been through, but we still love each other. We still want to be an encouragement to others, and that's kind of where our goal is to be an encouragement to other people, and to be and just encourage. Maybe you might need that person to come along you and say, what can we help you with? Can we pray for you? Can we do stuff with you? And all that kind of thing. So, in closing, I'm going to throw Jodi in the spot. We may start ending with a Bible verse. So, I'm going to put Jodi on the spot.
What he seems to have forgotten is that memorization is a struggle for me. And it's why I got my first D in second grade, because I can't memorize the times tables, and still cannot to this day. Thank you very much, honey.
So we won't do it tonight, but we will start bringing up Bible verses at the end.
I could probably do one.
Or maybe do a small devotion even at the end of these. So that way, this is some things that, and if there's something that we do that you want us to add, that you want us to take away, let us know. We're open, because you know what? It's our live, it's our video, and we're making it what it is. And so this is something that, I want to, I'm good at video. I've learned the ins and outs. Here coming soon, I'll be able to change different screens if we need to. I can pop up, if I got something over here on the internet and we want to talk about old pictures or any of that, I can bring all that stuff up. And so I can do a lot of things in here. And so that is why we just, I kind of decided, but she actually been saying she wanted to do more of it. And I'm like, what? Let's do a family blog. Let's do it.
So since we're talking, I used to have a blog that, it wasn't like huge or anything, but I had a pretty good following. I blogged several times a week on just different things in my life. And so here lately I've been thinking a lot about getting back into that, or did I want to blog, do I want to write, or do I want to do videos for the UC alumni band I'm involved in. I did a lot of Facebook Lives over the past couple years as part of my role there, and I kind of liked it. So I thought, well, maybe instead of blogging, I'll do that. And we were kind of talking it out, and it was like, well, why don't we do it together? So that's kind of how that came up. I don't remember why I started talking about that.
So our goal is to do it at least once a week. We don't know what night of the week. It might change. If we start doing it
Thursdays or
twice a week, we might do it then. We just don't know what we know. We'll see how the response is, see how people are watching, and if you have questions, you can definitely post them underneath here, and we may answer them next time. We may talk about something, like I say, Jodi's got a whole lot on her plate. I'm a full-time firefighter.
Why not add more?
That's a whole nother stressor to marriage and stuff.
We tend to do that.
So, if you have questions about that kind of stuff, we might talk about the fire side of things, of dealing with stuff that you see and bringing it home and keeping it at the firehouse, or do you need to bring it home and
dealing with being a fire wife
and things that you may need to deal with being a fire wife,
and how that adds to our family and changes things.
And so some things might be relevant to you, and then other things may not. So we're not really going down one path. We have a lot of people.
We have no niche.
We have a lot of stuff going on with our family, which understand that most people do. That's the way it is. We got kids growing up. We got soccer. We got riding horses. We got everything going on.
Or when I said we tend to keep adding activities.
So these are some things that we are going to do to just to try to help people, talk people through things. And we'll probably do them around 9. We might do them at 10, just see if the kids ever go to bed. They don't ever like going to bed. They like getting up early. I don't understand it. If you stay up late, usually you're supposed to sleep in the next morning. Not our kids here lately. So these are some things that we're going to do. We're going to make it happen. And we will definitely answer any questions that you may have. You got anything else in closing? Don't look like it. Again, you can go to...
I can do a Bible verse.
Okay, we're going to do our Bible verse.
We wanted to do a Bible verse.
Go check out this channel here that I just posted. Show Jill riding horse.
We can do that. She's doing really good, I think, for 5. I have no frame of reference. Neither of us ever took lessons.
Make sure you like the Geiman page that we got going on there too. That way, there probably won't be no notice of people letting you know that we're coming on here until we can be able to do these lives on YouTube and that, because Facebook don't always like everybody and everything. So these are some things that, you know, we'll put them on our own pages and then post it out.
Yeah.
All right. In closing.
Oh, my Bible verse. So it's my life verse. So I realize I do have one memorized. I think. We'll try it. Isaiah 40:31. But they that wait upon the Lord will renew their strength. They shall mount up on wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. And I decided to make that my life verse when I was a teenager. And I think, I mean, as any Bible verse would, but I think that one has served me well. Because there are definitely times when I feel faint. And I have to lean on the Lord, both physically and mentally and stuff. I think it served me well.
All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for watching. Let us know if we can help you, pray for you, anything like that. And we'll definitely see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.